another segment with political analyst Scott Hughes. Okay.
I have 2 big points I got to get to.
Hold on. Okay, you have a coin?
No.
Because trust me, this is going to set up your Tarver stuff. I promise. You have more Tarver stuff?
No, I have other things in the race I want to get to.
Okay, I've got one more Tarver thing.
You're wasting a minute now.
I've got more Tarver stuff I want to bring up.
Well, hurry.
Because Aaron, after the Tarver news, where he throws Adrian under the bus earlier this week, Kent is not the man I thought he was, etc. And Aaron got off the phone with him, with Mr. Gregg, and was like, I can't believe he said what he said. You're not going to believe what Tarver said. You're not going to believe what I just found out. And she said all that, and one of the first things I said to her was when she said, can you believe he said those things? And I said, how long do you think he's been sitting on that, waiting for someone to ask? Yes?
The fact that he replied to you would tell me he's been wanting to say that to somebody. I mean, Greg has largely been gone. He's been to special sessions. He hasn't been around. Adrian's been running his. If you look at the facts, Adrian's been running his campaign. You haven't really seen any external influence of Greg on the campaign, any appearances, etc. So he clearly was looking for someone to ask him that question.
Okay, here we go. Jeff Sato was on with us day before yesterday, 2 days ago, and said there are really only 2 candidates in this race right now, Ollie Tyler and Steven Jackson. Would you disagree with that?
No, I think Dr. Satos he's going to the second round. You know, you've heard me talk about the multiple rounds. And so I think what Dr. Satos is referring to is most that follow the race believe that the person that wins the Democratic primary, the African-American primary, the way it works out, probably has a huge leg up to win this race, because it has proven a heavy lift for a white candidate to get the required crossover vote. I mean, you go back to, you go all the way back to we were talking about the 94 race when Hazel Beard beat C.O. Simpkins, and the race used to be the other way. The white candidate used to always be the one, if they won the white primary, they would win. But ever since Jerry Jones ran against Cedric Glover, and Jerry Jones could not get over that hump, and Cedric won his first term, the race has kind of flipped. You tend to give the advantage to whoever comes out of, if they're a strong candidate, and I think we have several strong candidates in the African-American field.
Okay, you got your big boy britches on. So here we go. Would you be surprised if Ollie Tyler does not qualify in 2 weeks?
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Matter of fact, I'm not going to mention a name, but I've heard rumors that there are people that are waiting to get in the race if Ollie did not get in the race. And so, out of complete respect to the mayor, she is the incumbent. She could be a strong candidate if she runs, but it would not surprise me. We are seeing a mayor candidate that starts out with practically no money in the bank. And you hate to talk money in politics, but it is the blood that runs a political machine. And for an incumbent mayor, she's starting out with a weak bankroll. You don't really see her out campaigning a whole lot. And whether it's fair or not, the mayor's office, the city of Shreveport, is taking a lot of heat right now.
In much that same vein, can you recall a time, and we've talked about this a couple of times, can you remember a time when an incumbent mayor faced such a daunting challenge in this case, from Jackson and Perkins?
The last time the last race I go to, and you ask me the question, I go to Bo Williams. I think Bo Williams was there for 4 years, and that was the Keith Hightower wave. And I think it didn't matter that Bo had been maybe an effective administrator. He got tagged with a bunch of things that took place, and there was a perception. And Keith represented to many people youth. He represented a new direction for Shreveport, and Bo never stood a chance in that race. Matter of fact, Bo withdrew from the runoff. If you remember the race, Bo and Keith make the runoff, and Bo decides not to run the runoff. He withdraws, and Keith becomes mayor. And so Ollie may have many of the same dynamics, and to put the two together, maybe to jump ahead of your question, to put the two together is if Ollie's not going to file, then that might open the field for somebody else to get in, and that might explain some of the Tarver situation. Again, we'll wait and see. Until Greg endorses somebody, I'm not committing him anywhere.
If Ollie Tyler were to call you and say, I want to sit down with you and I want to ask you a couple questions, and she said to you, Scott Hughes, what have I done wrong in the past 3 years, and what have I done right? What would you tell her?
I think what Ollie has done right is what Ollie does. If you followed her as the superintendent of schools, the state assistant superintendent of schools, Ollie tries to be a very positive person. She tries to work with everybody. She tries to project an image that all is well. She tries to project, and she's a competent manager. I'm not going to say, I don't think you can prove she's incompetent manager. Okay, so she's a competent manager, and I think she tries to put out a good picture of what's going on. If you look at the things she did early on, let's clean up Shreveport. Let's look at beautification. Now, ironically, that has come back to bite her a little bit here in the end because, and you yourself have done some of this, with the streets and the mowing. I think in the end that leaders often get tagged with what takes place during their term, and I'll just close with look at Kathleen Blanco. Kathleen Blanco got hit with Hurricane Katrina. There was nothing she could do to overcome the hurricane and the imagery with that. I think with Ollie and with the social media and the constant reporting of the crime going on, it doesn't matter if crime's up or down. In reality, it's up to the voter. It's Ollie's fault, and she's got the police chief. And I think that's going to be her albatross at the end.
Now, when you look at the major issues in the coming mayor's race, and I had made this point last week. It's jobs and the economy and it's crime and it's law and order. And I said, hell, at election time, everybody becomes a Republican. I mean, am I wrong? Everybody is running on Republican issues. What I describe as state Democrats, they're like micro Republicans, macro Democrats.
Oh yeah, I mean one of the old sayings is "run to the right, govern to the left." Everybody wants the conservative. Everybody wants to know you're going to take care of their money. Everybody wants to know you're going to protect them. Everybody wants to know you're going to build roads and do good things. And then you inevitably get in office and you find out that you're not the king. You have to work with elected representatives, city council in the case of mayor, or the legislature in case of the governor. And then you find out that you don't have an unlimited checkbook. You find out that there are, in the case of Shreveport, needs that exceed revenue. And it becomes a problem. And I think that Ollie came in and she's inherited that problem. And at the end of the day, whether it's right or wrong, she's gonna be probably the victim of what is perceived to be Shreveport heading in a down direction.
Do you expect any other bombshells to be dropped in this race between now and when they qualify, or it's going to kind of stay low key until we see who's signing up?
I think we probably have seen the field. I say the Ollie question is the big one that's out there. I don't think you're going to see. Well, I don't think you'll see anybody else get in from the Republican or from the white side of the equation. You've already got some already think you have one too many. With Lee Savage and with Talaferro sort of fighting that battle out there. You could have an opening on the African American or Democratic side. I see no real bombshells. Where I see the bombs going off right now are the city council races. I mean, we're focusing up here on the mayor's race. And ultimately, the real power, the change is going to take place at the city council. And you're seeing things like Willie Bradford announcing he may not run again. You're seeing, I think, 5 people in District B, 3 or 4 in District C. The council races are shaping up as the battleground.